Claire is very smart. I never actually gave her enough credit, I don't think, for being as clever as she is. She turned a whole group of friends against their leader.
Scary.
Yeah.
She should be president.
Hello, clowns.
I'm Ami.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Vibes Podcast.
We're two best friends who get together to laugh and discuss a variety of topics.
From all things pop culture to navigating through adulthood as Asian Americans, and more with our own clown spin, of course.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Today we have such an exciting episode because we fortunately are bringing back Throwback Book Club. For a hot second, Ami and I were really considering just stopping the series because the books were getting really trashed and we just could not bring ourselves to read another young adult fiction book. But I'm so glad we decided to keep doing it, and we picked up one of my favorites from when I was back in middle school, The Clique, because honestly, we have a very special guest today. For today's episode, we have Sophie Everhard. Sophie is an actress, model, entertainment executive, and natural redhead. She's sitting virtually in front of me, and I can concur she does look like a natural redhead. She's been acting since she was 6 years old and has spent the last 10 years of her career supporting developing musicians and putting on awesome concerts. She currently has puppy fever, and you can find her sharing tiny thoughts and highlights of her travels on Instagram at Sophie Anna with 2 E's and TikTok Sophie Anna with 3 E's. Welcome, Sophie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to clown around.
That's definitely the vibe this morning.
We have dogs, so we understand your puppy fever.
Oh man, you're gonna have to show them to me.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack in that one little blurb. First of all, I found you through TikTok, but not through the Clique. It's through actually when you were at So Far Sounds.
Yeah, amazing. I spent my entire professional career at So Far Sounds, which is just this amazing global community that supports artists by putting on unique and intimate experiences all over the world. I had an amazing run building that company and growing it, and I got to listen to a lot of really good music. Have you been to a show?
Not yet, but like because I'm based in San Francisco and I live in the Mission, I feel like there are a few locations that are really close to me. So I've always wanted to go. I feel like it's a really popular San Francisco date spot.
It's a great
like all my friends
second
who go on,
date.
Like first dates always go there. First or second. Yeah.
First or second. It's my recommendation.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. How did you get into acting?
So the legend goes that I was like 6 years old, and at the time my family was living in kind of like middle of nowhere, Colorado. My dad was in the Air Force, and so we were based out there. And I told my mom I wanted to be on TV, and she took me seriously. And I got a local agent in like the Denver metro area when I was 6 years old. And I started auditioning and booking a lot of like commercials and print jobs in the local area. I was constantly put in like lavender purple for every job that I did as a girl, and I hated it so much. It was the thing that I hated the most about my child acting experience, was wearing purple because I was kind of a tomboy. But then my dad started working for a commercial airline, and so we got these amazing benefits, and my mom would start to fly me out to Los Angeles and New York for the day for auditions. After having like some success there and having my little sister start to do it too, we ultimately moved out to LA when I was 13, and I kept acting throughout high school.
That's so cool. Do you still wear lavender purple? Because I feel like it's such an in color right now.
Yeah.
I mean, my cell phone is lavender purple.
My AirPod case is lavender purple. I've come a long way in accepting lavender purple as a key color staple that looks good on me and highlights my coloring. So it is now something that I wear quite often. I've grown a lot since I was 6, luckily.
I mean, do you have anything that's lavender purple? I feel like it's not really your color.
My phone case used to be it, but then it got too beat up, so I got a new one that's pink now. But yeah, generally I don't lean lavender purple that often. It's not my coloring.
I love that we're keeping it honest here between friends.
It's not everyone's. Oh yeah, we have like very different vibes. I think that's like what makes us somewhat great co-hosts is Ami's always like joining in her sweats. Sometimes I wear my sweats too, though.
I have sweats on the bottom.
I wear a shirt today instead of my sweats to class it up for our guest.
Honored.
And so, Sophie, what are you doing now? Do you still do acting, or are you more have like transitioned into just working a daytime job?
So I was lucky enough to be employed throughout the entire pandemic and definitely experienced a significant amount of burnout in that time and leading a company that was meant to be putting on live, intimate events in people's homes. And so I decided to take a step back and take a sabbatical and kind of reassess and see what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. For the past 10 years, I've been at the same job. I've been living in the same city. I've had the same romantic partner, and something needed to change. And so I have been traveling a lot over the past year, kind of re-exploring other passions and interests. And actually in January, at the very beginning of my time off from my corporate life, I filmed a short film. My little sister is a writer and a director, and she had some peers who were making a short, and they cast me to play like a supporting character, like the main love interest. And it was my first time on set in probably like 4-ish years. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. Get me an agent again. And so it really kind of like restarted and reignited that joy of like creating and working with creatives. So I have got a new agent. I signed with my agent the day that the SAG strike started. So interesting timing. I feel like it's actually going to be like great for my stories in the future about my comeback. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of acts. So I'm acting again. I'm traveling, but I am also looking to pursue some of my other like professional interests in terms of working in like the creative, entertainment, and hospitality industries. So I'm exploring some options.
What is like your dream role that you would want to be in?
Like to play, like as an actress?
Yeah. Like, are you more into shows and like, or is it more like dramas and movies, or is it Broadway?
I can only do Broadway in my shower by myself alone, but I am a big musical show tunes gal. I tend to like lean towards more comedic acting and enjoy comedies. I famously cannot cry on cue. It's haunted me my entire life, and it's something that I've started to practice. So I can be prepared for when the day comes and I need to do it. I can cry in every other situation except for when I'm supposed to. I feel like as like the redhead, I've always seen myself in the world as like the quirky best friend, or I often have played the mean girl. So one thing I would love to do, mostly just for my personal experience, is to be in a period piece, just to wear the amazing, beautiful dresses.
Yes.
And or be on
which
Law and Order
period
SVU.
which you want to be in?
Ooh. Which period would I want to be in? I am a Francophile. I'm obsessed with all things France and French. Obsessed.
That. Me too.
You say something is French or by a French person, I love it. It's a 10 out of 10, no question.
Have you seen Reign, the CW show? That's like one of my favorite shows ever. It's about Mary Queen of Scots and her time in France.
Oh my God.
You have to watch it.
Writing it down.
It is
the
very
fashion
dramatized.
Is 10.
My favorite show right now is...
It is my ultimate comfort show.
Adding it. I'm currently watching The Great on Hulu, which is my favorite show right now. I feel like being in that show would be a dream because it's a mix of comedy and like historical nonfiction and a period piece, and the acting is amazing, the writing's hilarious. That would be a dream
for sure.
I also am into period pieces, but I'm more like British. I mean, I love Downton Abbey, but I also can only sing in the shower. Once I tried singing in the shower and my mom heard me like back when I was in middle school, and she was like, "Was that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, was it good?" And she was like, "No." And I have never sang in the shower again. Like, I am actually traumatized from that interaction. So I'm like with you on that. Shower singing, but like alone.
I mean, if I've learned anything from like seeing people talking about the Clique again on the internet, it's that some of those little comments and those little things can really stick with you for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
Well, that's exciting. Well, when you are no longer on strike, we are so looking forward to seeing where you go next. Should we get into the discussion?
Yeah, I'm pumped. So this week we're talking about the Clique, and the Clique is a middle school book. They're in 7th grade. It's about Claire, this girl from Florida who moves to Westchester, a very fancy, rich area. And her family lives in the guest house of this girl, Massey, who is like the 7th grade popular girl. She is the queen bee. She has a group of friends that Claire really wants to be a part of. And the story just follows like Claire's adventure moving to this new place.
And for our audience, Sophie, what character did you play in the movie of the book adaptation?
I played Dylan Marvel. She is the resident redhead of the Pretty Committee, which is what the main group of friends call themselves. And I always describe myself as like, this is true, but I describe myself as playing the fat, nicest mean girl of the group in the movie. I don't use that anymore, but that is what I have said for the past 15 years. Changing my vocabulary there, but
there's so much to unpack, like what you literally just said about Dylan's character. And Emily and I were kind of like just chatting about our initial thoughts of the movie. But I think the transition from Dylan the book to Dylan the movie, like you got the best edit, like the best changes. I feel like Dylan came out so amazing. Like she was a little bit flat in the book, but in the movie I feel like she had so much character and so much character development in like a 90-minute film. I really enjoyed your character. You had some really great moments.
You could really see her struggle of like wanting to be nice to Claire and like going through being basically fat shamed by her family and peers. And the whole time I was like, she looks the same as everyone. I'm confused why they say that she's fat.
I know. You're literally the same size.
Absolutely. I 100% was. I don't think I fully realized like the implications of being the same size as everyone else in the film, but being told I was a different size, like what that meant not only for like my own personal growth, but for other girls seeing the movie and being like,
wait a minute,
what's going on here? There's some concerning descriptions being used about this young girl and her body.
Really highlights how important the language your family uses with you is and how it translates into like your confidence and like how you talk about yourself to your friends who then talk about you the same way.
When you were 15 or 14, young Kurt, you got the role as Dylan and you were reading the script and you were understanding that this girl was supposed to be like fatter than the others. Like, did you really understand what that meant? Did that like resonate with you at all? Or did it kind of like gloss over your head?
What I remember is really just like working with my mom. My mom like, you know, supported a lot of my career at that time and going through it and basically just hearing from her saying like, oh no, like you're not fat. Like that's the point, is that she thinks she's fat, but not going much deeper than that and like unpacking it any more than just like, oh, but you're not actually. So don't worry about it. Like you're just playing it like that. I remember going to like a fitting with the costume designer. She effusively was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how they cast you for this role because you're not overweight at all. And we're going to have to do something about that with how we dress you and the way that we style your clothes. And we'll use clothing to make you look slightly different. But I think just found like repetitiveness from my mom being like, oh, don't worry about it, you're not. But we didn't talk about like more what it would be like for Dylan to think that she is. I didn't dive deep into that at that time. It's something that I've been thinking about more now as the Clique has kind of resurfaced online.
I'm so glad you brought up your stylist because I was telling Anya that like I have beef with her because I feel like she did not style you well at all throughout the whole movie. And like, I guess it's because I know what you look like now and you have such beautiful features. Your hair is so gorgeous. But every time they like curl your hair or put an outfit together, I'm just like, what is this? Because everyone in the Pretty Committee is supposed to be pretty and is supposed to be stylish. And I do not know what she was trying to do for you.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Your hair and Claire's at one moment, your bangs are like so curled. They're kind of like flipped up like 70s hair. And I was just like, what are they doing? Why?
It was also that it was 2008. It was the era of the side part and the side swoop bang, which I'm glad we are not in that time anymore. And we'll see. Oh, I mean, the center part with the curtain bangs obviously has stood this test of time. This is like a 70s vibe, but I had some serious side bang happening. The one photo that I really don't like of me from the Clique that's out there on the internet is the photo of me in the lime green jacket with these mustard yellow gloves and a very unflattering skirt. And it's supposed to be like our like main pretty committee photo. And I'm pretty sure the first time my boyfriend saw that photo, he spit out whatever he was drinking, laughing. But we can laugh about it now.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. It's like, I don't know if I'm just being mean or like judgmental, but I really feel like she did not dress Dylan well in the show. And the Clique is all about like fashion too. I mean, it's like the middle school version of Gossip Girl. In my opinion.
I did get to wear some really cool designers, and I did learn a bit about like designer fashion from being in that movie. A fun fact is that I actually wore the most expensive article of clothing in the movie in one of the scenes. In the scene where Claire gets hit with an egg when we're in the kitchen doing our like glambition moment, my hair is like to the side. I have a cute little headband in. I like this outfit. And I'm wearing this like shiny red gold sort of like embossed top. And it was a Marc Jacobs top. And that was probably one of the first days in our first week of filming. And I remember feeling very special that I got to wear the most expensive Marc Jacobs top. It helped me get into character. I was like, oh yeah, I'm the top of the pretty committee today.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you know that it was the most expensive? Did they tell you?
Yeah, the costume designer was on set the whole time. Her name is Mandy Line. She's incredible. She also ultimately did the costumes for like Pretty Little Liars and a bunch of other iconic CW-esque shows. And so she was always on set making sure we looked good and felt as good as we could. But like you put a 13-year-old in designer fashion, and there's something inherently awkward about that. No matter what, right?
For sure.
What kind of stuff were you wearing when you were in middle school? I didn't look great.
No.
Even when I was styled by a professional, I looked like an awkward teenager.
It's so funny because Claire is supposed to be cheap, or she's not supposed to be rich, and she shops at like the Gap. And I'm just like, man, I didn't even get to shop at the Gap. Like, what is this? Like,
I do feel like there's been like a change too. Now it's like, now a lot of the fashion, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't have any children that age or friends that age, but from what I can see online, I imagine that there's a lot more value too in like sustainability and thrifting and kind of more of that DIY approach. I imagine if the Pretty Committee were to be dressing themselves today, there would be a lot more of that and a lot less designer fashion in like the cool girl group in Westchester. Maybe we should go do a field trip and see what the 12-year-olds in Westchester are wearing today.
What they're wearing now. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that's like such a good point because I used to wear so many graphic tees, which is inherently like unsustainable. The quantity of those things that they were turning out was insane. I dressed more like Claire did on the first day of school, where she wore that "Cool Girls Are from Miami" shirt, which I was like, this is funny.
We need to reissue that shirt and sell it. I think
for sure.
I would buy it. I would buy it and I would wear it proudly.
Miami tourism is like losing out by not selling this on the streets.
Hey, City of Miami, we have a free idea for you.
I know you mentioned a while back that Dylan's mother was always really concerned about her weight. And the concept of like almond mom, I feel like is really going around on my TikTok right now. I mean, it always goes around. And Dylan's mom is very much an almond mom in this series. Like, were you guys ever aware that this mom's behavior is problematic in a way? Or did it become more well known to the group, like as you guys aged into your adult lives?
Definitely just thought of her as a mean mom and a mom who didn't understand when I was originally like filming that scene and doing that character work. The scene with my mom, the only scene in the film with my mom, it was my audition scene. And so it was a part of the script that I was really familiar with because I had been practicing it for months. Because the movie was so centered around the girls' friendship with one another, I think that originally I really focused on, and the director really focused on, what that moment was like for Dylan and Claire, and focusing on not necessarily like what Dylan and her mom's relationship was, but really how Claire was there for Dylan when she maybe didn't even know that she needed someone. And I think that is such a beautiful scene and moment. I always love that scene. It was one of my favorites to film. It's such a nice, pure, innocent moment that really sets the stage, I think, for the whole rest of the movie as well. Kind of like you said earlier, seeing how Dylan wanted to be nice, but also didn't want to like shake things up in her friend group. Being a teenage girl is hard.
I think that's one of the reasons I liked the Clique so much in this reread is because it centers friendships. It's not about boys. It's not about, your family relationships. It's all about their friend group, which is, still relatable at any age.
That scene that you just described, Sophie, was actually one of my favorite scenes to watch too. And it's not in the book. I think it's like an added scene from the movie. Oh. And it's really great because when Claire had the idea to switch the tags, I was literally like, Claire's so smart. She's a genius. Why is this middle schooler like smarter than me? Because I would never have like known. And like the fact that she's so willing to help you, not knowing who you are, not even knowing that you were Massey's friend at that point. I will say that scene ended in a really like weird way when Kristen comes out and they're like, oh, we just ran into a guy trying on women's clothes. When I heard that, I was just like, oh, to the words of like Massey, oh my God, like I forgot that this scene happened this way.
I also was like, oh wow, it hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
Speaking of the other characters, of course, like one thing I love about this book is even though I think most of the dialogue is between Claire and Massey and kind of like their friendship, I really do feel like there's not one main character. I think like, especially as the series progresses, each of the girls in the pretty community kind of gets their own character development. And I really love that. I really loved Kristen in the book. I think she's like set up for really great character development. But of course, like I would say Massey was my favorite, which is scary to think about. I'm like concerned about who I was in middle school. I was not always the nicest, I will say. And I think I picked up a lot of mannerism from Massey, unfortunately. But then Alicia, I can't believe her biggest character thing in the book and in the movie is that she has big boobs. Like, how is that the most defining characteristic of a young girl?
And they don't like, I guess the first book is like so quick and there's so much that happens like later in the other books. But in the movie, when they bring it up, it's kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? Because Claire makes one comment about it when they're at the sleepover, but you don't have the backstory. And I guess they were assuming that most people watching the movies had read all the books, which they had, but they like really brought up like everyone's little insecurities in a really like quick ways in the movie just to like round everyone out earlier than they do in the books.
Because of the following the books had, it was important for them to try to stick as closely to it. And
for sure.
I remember like when we were filming and promoting it when it came out, we all read a lot of things that people said about us online and the casting choices and things like that. In a way, it's a good thing that like TikTok and Instagram weren't as big as they are now when that came out. I think our experience would have been a lot different. But I remember we were reading the comments and people were like, Alicia doesn't have boobs at all. And Dylan's not fat. And like Massey doesn't look like she's the boss. And all of these things, but it kind of in a way speaks to like the insecurities that all the girls are dealing with anyway, right? And that what they're seeing and experiencing and thinking is a problem nobody else in the world might see or think. And like meanwhile, with the boob thing, like I was like wrapping my boobs down to like make them smaller because I was quite developed for my age and a little bit older. So like there was a lot of like backwards kind of like they were trying to like pump up one person's breasts and tie down someone else's to make us all look 12 and like a preteen.
Should we discuss some of our favorite moments from the series? Because I feel like the writers for the Clique, they were not on strike because they were top notch. Some of the lines that each character honestly delivers is just like chef's kiss.
So funny.
I don't think I realized how camp the movie was until this year.
Camp.
So
Agree.
camp.
Like rewatching it, I was like, wow, I love this movie.
And for our audience member who are interested in watching it, it's free on YouTube, but with a ton of ads.
Yeah, but still free.
Yeah.
We do like free things. I'm okay with it. I support it.
Free things. Sophie, what was like one of your favorite or funny memories of filming the movie?
Ooh. It was all so much fun. We really just had the best time. And I think that the production really did focus on helping us connect as friends outside of the set as well. So like we truly did hang out all of the time when we weren't working. We all lived together in the same hotel in the middle of Rhode Island in the winter time and really felt special and bonded over what we were building and knowing that we were about to make a film that people were excited to see because they loved these characters already.
Yeah.
It really just felt like playing around every day with your friends. It was all of it was so much fun. I don't remember having a bad day.
That's great, because sometimes I have a lot of bad days at work sometimes. So to have that at your job, like, amazing.
I heard an interview with a famous actor, I don't remember who it was, and they said something about how when you're on set as an actor, that's actually not when you're at work. Everything else is when you're at work, when you're auditioning, when you're going to classes, when you're trying to network, that's the work. And then when you're actually on set, that's kind of a vacation because that's when the play begins. And I really loved that approach to thinking about being an actor and like the industry in general, because if you only think about being on set as the work, you're missing out on a lot of the other stuff that's definitely not fun. I could do without. But you can't have all good days in any industry or in any job.
It's good that you guys got along so well. Like putting 5, 12 to 15-year-olds together could have been chaotic. And yeah. I'm glad that you guys were all friends.
Dangerous business. I wonder, yeah. Thinking just now, it does seem like because all of us had such unique and distinct characters, there wasn't any level of like competition there. Like we all kind of knew who we were there to be, who we were there to play, what our role was in making this film, and kind of the audience that we were serving. And I feel like that maybe probably helped a little bit in terms of making sure that we all connected and didn't feel kind of dramatic or competitive with one another.
You know what I would love to see is like a Bratz doll collection of the different Clique characters. I feel like that'd be so fun.
I'm buying them all. I'm sold. And another fun fact, I have 2 little sisters. They were both actresses as well. And my middle sister was in the live action Bratz movie.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Did you ever see that film?
It was meant to be.
No, I didn't. I think it came out when I had like aged out of that time.
I think it came out, I'm trying to remember if it was before or after the Clique. I don't remember. But she plays the mean girl in that movie's little sister. And she is so funny. And she's also started to have like a bit of a moment on TikTok with people finding clips from the Bratz movie and recognizing her. And then we've posted some things together, and it feels like a very fun pairing to be like the girls from the Clique and the Bratz movies together as one.
Were there any scenes from the movie that, and I mean for you too, where as like adults you're like, ooh, you had like different thoughts about that scene? Because one thing that like really jumped out at me was obviously the part of the plot was driven by Massey's crush on Chris Babley, and comes to find out that he has a girlfriend. But honestly, as I was watching this and rereading it, I was like, I feel like he's leading her on. He's leading her on so much.
1000%. Saying date was so dumb. Like, that's just extremely leading on, like, language. You should never say that if you have a girlfriend.
And that's just something I never picked up whenever I was watching it or reading it when I was younger. I guess we're all jaded now in some form of fashion. I was like, that's a big no-no.
And he's like older too, right? Like he's in high school.
Yeah.
He should have known better.
Yeah. It was definitely like super odd that he was acting like that when he had a girlfriend.
I do respect Massey's boldness though. I feel like I could learn something from that. Like she decided she wanted something and she went and she got it, or tried to get it, almost got it. Would have gotten what she wanted, which might have been a bad thing in the end if she had actually popped out of that cake. So good on her, but he bad on him.
I loved how like they had done really nothing and she was like, yeah, I'm practically his girlfriend.
They delusional.
I feel too. One of the scenes that really was like, to me was the egg throwing scene. Like whenever Massey threw an egg at Claire, I was like, oh my God, doing that is like so wild. And I don't think I really understood when I was a child. Like I was probably like, that's so funny, but it's not funny. It was very like escalated for no reason.
Some unhinged behavior.
And also like no one got in trouble for it. Yeah.
No one got in trouble for it. You're so right.
Because no one saw it, and then when she went home and cried, like, I guess her jacket was covering it, and so her mom didn't notice or something, but, like, it was a lot. And even for her friends who, I think at that point, like, kind of liked Clara to not say anything. Like, I totally get not saying anything because you don't want to, like, piss off Massey. but it was a lot.
I've never thrown an egg at anyone, and I don't plan on it.
Yeah.
I think that you would actually be hard-pressed to find a group of girls as outwardly mean as they are in the Clique. I feel like a lot of the meanness is a little bit more backhanded, a little bit more behind the scenes. Being able to see it in an exaggerated way in a film, like, helps you to, like, understand where it plays in real life, too. Like, maybe someone didn't actually throw an egg at you, but you might go home feeling like you got an egg thrown at you because someone embarrassed you in public. And that sucks. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't throw eggs.
And it's fun to see Claire fight back in, like, such a fun way, rather than her just kind of, like, taking it to the chest and being like, they're never gonna like me. But I think Claire was so clever in how she got all of the pretty committee to turn against Massey.
It kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about the scene where we switch the tags on the pants, right? Claire is very smart. I never actually gave her enough credit, I don't think, for being as clever as she is. She turned a whole group of friends against their leader.
Scary.
Yeah.
She should be president.
Honestly.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I feel like in the book, she's so much smarter and so much wittier. And when we were watching the movie, I was like, why? She was much more subdued. And I think they did her, like, a little bit of an injustice, because book Claire is even better than what they gave her in the writing in the movie. Did you feel that way, Yuchen?
Yeah, I thought so. I also just thought the ending, so in the book, one of my favorite scene is when they catch Claire in the act and, like, expose her, and they do it through, like, a 3-way or 4-way call. And when I was reading that, I think I actually gasped when Massey, like, spoke on the phone. I was just like, oh my gosh, these girls are playing, like, World War IV at this point. Like, it's so much manipulation and planning. And meanwhile, I'm just like, I would have never even thought that. But I think everyone was taking digs at everyone. In a way, they're best friends, but some of their behavior was, like, really toxic to one another. Like, Alicia didn't really, like, she was trying to overthrow Massey too. Like, after the end of the book and the movie, I'm just like, who is actually friends with who? Like, who should they trust?
Yeah.
Hearing you talk about this now makes me feel like it's Succession for 12-year-olds.
Yes, it is. Succession, 100%.
We need to give the Pretty Committee more credit. They had their own empire at OCD high school, middle school, and they were playing some corporate mind games with one another.
They really were. And they're all so conniving in, like, the best ways.
I just want to share, like, when I first read the Clique and, like, watched the movie, obviously what drew me to, like, getting the book was the plaid covers of all the books. They were so iconic, and whoever did the graphic design of the books, like, fantastic job. But do you guys remember the first, like, iPod video that ever came out? It was more of, like, a rectangle, and you can watch, like, videos on it. I had one, and The Clique was one of, like, the first movies I illegally maybe have, like, downloaded onto my video. But I remember my dad taking me to piano lessons, and this was, like, before, you know, really, like, technology and iPhones back then. But I only had, like, all my girly pop movies on the iPod, and he would just watch The Clique while I just played piano.
Your dad trying to relate to you. That's very cute.
Yeah.
I need to know who his favorite character is.
I'll ask. I told him that we were filming this, and he's like, I don't remember watching that movie. I'm just like, yeah, sure, Dad. Sure you don't. I'm pretty sure you watched it like 10 times.
Your memory.
Oh my god. Me and my friends were obsessed with the Clique. We were the Clique, and I was Kristen because I played soccer. And a really good connection. Which they don't tell you in the first book or in the first movie that she plays soccer, but later that's part of her character development. And we would pass around, like, a notebook, and each day, like, someone would write their day or note to everyone, and it was very fun.
I was a masochist. I don't know if I should have admitted that out loud.
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker. If anyone's a redhead, I'm picking them. In any film, book,
That's
TV
fair.
show. I've only been redheads for Halloween for the past, like, 7 years. And I actually just decided that that's silly because I should use Halloween the one day of the year to not be a redhead. So this year I'm thinking I'll be purchasing a wig of some color and cut and doing something else. But there's a lot of iconic redheads out there. I've had a lot of options to go through.
That's very fun.
We have some 5 rapid questions for you. They're really fun.
I'm nervous.
So don't think like too hard on this. Okay. First one, I'm sure you've been asked this, but what would you rather, be a friendless loser or have a bunch of friends who secretly hate you?
I love that that's the first question. I'm going to go with friendless loser.
Definitely. I mean, I am kind of a friendless loser. As you get older, you only have a few select friends anyways.
You're not a friendless loser. Who am I?
You got a friend right here. All you need is one friend to not be a friendless loser.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, Claire had friends. She had Lane.
She had Lane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she was mean to Lane.
Yeah, she was really mean to Lane. And I think when they asked her, she didn't really have Lane because she had just blown Lane off for the sleepover. I would definitely be a friendless loser too.
I started to like try to be contrarian and say have a bunch of friends that secretly hate me, but even just thinking about saying that out loud, and I imagined myself in the middle of a party in a room with all these people and like just knowing that they actually didn't like me. But I guess if I didn't know that they didn't like me, because if they secretly hate me,
Yeah.
but they're still my friends, it still doesn't feel right. Don't hang out with people who don't like you or who fill your cup.
Yeah, and if they secretly hated you, they're probably like being rude in other ways, just not like superly overt. So no one wants that anyway.
If you ever feel like you secretly hate someone, stop hanging out with them. One of the best things about growing up and like not having to have friends of convenience in the same way that you do when you're in middle school or high school or college is that you can choose who you hang out with. And if you don't like someone for whatever reason, you don't have to keep them in your life. Probably a bold blanket statement, but...
Okay, second question. What is your current state of the union? What's in and what's out for you?
Okay.
First, also, was Massey the creator of the In and Out list? The In and Out list is having a huge comeback, and she was the creator of it.
I agree with that. It's the first one on record is from Massey and the Clique, I think, during the State of the Union, In and Out.
Agreed.
I tried to do one and like post about one once, but it kind of felt wrong because I was like, I'm Dylan, I'm not Massey, I can't. I don't have the authority.
Yes, you can.
To say what's in and out. Okay, in right now, press on nails. Out is going and getting my nails done and getting dip and tips and all the things. Fancy cool press-ons, in. That's a hard rapid fire one. Let's see. In is also making the bed right when you wake up. Sets you up for the whole day. Do they have to be opposites? Like the in and the out?
No,
No,
but
it's
Massey
just like
always does it as opposites, and I'm just like, I'm very impressed by this. But remember, Claire was both in and out at the end of the movie and the book, so I don't know. She makes the rules, I don't.
What's on your in and out list? I gave one good one.
Okay, we'll do a collective in and out list.
Yeah.
In is buying really fancy like things that are trendy but are just gonna go out in like another season, like these Amazon, not the real ones.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And then out is the opposite.
Out is spending money you don't have. Let me just put that there.
Well said.
Okay, this is my current one. In is not traveling, and out is getting on a plane. For the next month, I do not want to step foot on a plane.
That is wrong.
Let's see
you
if it
have been
happens.
traveling like every single month, so I don't know how that's like in for you.
I know. No, but that is my new state of mind is like, if I get on a plane in the next month, like, I will lose my mind. I cannot get on a plane in the next month. If my sickness has taught me anything, it's that I need to just be in my apartment for one full month.
Our last question. This might be a tough one. It's a Sophie/Dylan crossover. Okay. If Dylan was stranded on an island and could only bring 3 albums to listen to, what would they be?
Ooh, I love that question. I need to like put my Dylan mustard yellow gloves on. She would bring Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen.
I love that album.
2015. She would bring some Joni Mitchell. I don't know which album. One of the classics, one of the old ones. Because she's a little more emotional and like internal than I think we give her credit for. I gave her credit for. And I think she could do well listening to some like nice folky acoustic jams alone on an island. And I don't know, I kind of feel like she would bring like an LMFAO album or something. I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't bring that, but I kind of feel like Dylan might.
Wait, is LMFAO like still around? Are they still producing music?
I don't think so. I don't know. But like, I think of them when I think of the era in which I portrayed Dylan. I think that's also because I met them in an airport once, like around the time that the movie came out. And so there's I don't know, there's like a kinship there.
When you guys were filming the Clique, what were like some songs that you guys listened to while hanging out? I'm so nostalgic when I think of music.
This question. One thing that I remember about being on set was that Elizabeth, the girl who plays Massey, she and I have remained very close, and she's told me in the year since filming that even when I was 14, she thought my music taste and love for music was very apparent, and that I showed her some of her favorite artists when we were 14 years old living in Rhode Island. And I want to give her some credit because she showed me a song that definitely would change the course of my musical life. We listened to, I remember on like the first week of filming, Cute Without the E, which is like an emo, I forget if it's a song or, let me Google it, hold on. It's like, okay, it's a Taking Back Sunday song. I'm embarrassed that I forgot that. And it is kind of like emo pop punk. And it was one of the songs that got me into that genre of emo music. And I still, if I hear that song, which I hear it more often than you would expect, I'm immediately brought back to the first week on set and Elizabeth showing it to me and me wanting to be exactly like her because she was so cool in real life and she was playing the coolest girl in the movie. I was like, whatever she's listening to, I'm listening to. So when she told me that she liked my music, I was amazed. I'm pretty sure the one band that she's referring to is Bon Iver that I showed her in the early days. But also Sam Boscarino, Samantha, who plays Alicia, she is an amazing singer and she actually has a song that she sings that's on the soundtrack.
Oh my God.
Of the film. Wow. And so we played her song all the time. We were just like, I remember bumping her music and we were so excited when it ended up being in the movie and like knew all the words and we're always singing that one.
That's really cool.
Okay, you know how there's been a lot of remakes recently or reboots? If they were to ever reboot the Clique, who would play Dylan?
Me, because they're going to reboot it and make it the Clique all grown up.
Yeah. I would love that. That actually would be so fun to watch.
Yeah, we're not remaking 12-year-old Clique. We're doing Clique all grown up, mostly because I just want to be in it.
And now you're back in acting, like, time to pitch it. Your sister can write the script.
Trust me, that is the path we're hoping to go down.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's it for our rapid fire questions. One last one to kind of like wrap us up. As we do for like all our Throwback Book Club series, we're going to give a rating for the Clique, either the movie or the book, 1 through 10, 10 being the best. I'll go first. I was so pleasantly surprised by both the movie and the book. Like, also, I've been a really hard critic of a lot of the books that we've read, but this one, I think I would give it a solid 6 out of 10. And that's like really good because most of them have been ranging around the 2 and 3s. So 6 for a young adult book that I read as an adult, I think is a compliment in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you?
Oh my God. I was thinking about this last night when I was going to sleep and I thought 8, but I think I was just like 2. I was getting too excited. I think, yeah, I was on a high. I think realistically like 6.5, 7 is where I would say. Like still really good, way better. What did I give Gossip Girl a 4? So yeah. The Clique was way better. I honestly might read the second book.
Me too.
I'm obviously biased, and I also have not read the books in a very long time. I'm going to have to go do that now. I should have prepared more. But I think if you had asked me this question when I was 15, when the film had come out, I probably would have given it like a 3. And now I have changed course, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I feel that there is so much more to explore than I ever gave it credit for. And instead of being embarrassed or kind of shy about being in a sort of random direct-to-DVD film that I didn't know if anyone ever saw or related to. My perspective on it has changed so much because of the internet and because people like you two want to talk about it and want to explore it. And it's been a big connector, I think, to people and to girls who enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 9.
I think that's so fair.
Love that. It has like a huge cult following. When I was in middle school, everyone read every single book.
Everyone read the books, and then I just never knew if anyone actually saw the movie. And it's nice to know that people have. It is very validating.
It's like a whole clique party to watch the movie. Like went to Blockbuster, got the DVD.
R.I.P. Blockbuster.
Lots of people watched it.
Well, Sophie, we talked about, you getting back into acting and then maybe a potential reboot of the Clique where you star as Dylan again. What's like next for you? Are you traveling anywhere? Are you doing anything fun? Any special projects?
I am a week and a couple days away from my 30th birthday. So
happy early birthday!
Has been the big thing on my calendar that I've been looking forward to. It's a big birthday. I'm very excited to enter my 30s. I feel like, I don't know, I need to find someone who knows what's up in the moon and the stars so I can really prepare. And to celebrate, my family's flying out. I'm hosting a big party. And then I'm actually going on a trip with my family to celebrate my parents' 31st wedding anniversary.
Aww.
So spending some more time with my family, celebrating, growing up, and growing into myself more. And I've got a few small short films coming out, so I will definitely be posting about those as they are released.
Cool. Can't wait to watch them. Where are you guys going on your trip?
We're going to Greece. I've never been.
We love Greece. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm going to be Mamma Mia-ing it up the whole time. You're going to have to force me to turn off ABBA.
Ami and I became close when we went to Greece together. Like that was, I think, the start of like our really strong friendship origin story.
Yeah, for sure.
Up for recommendations.
Oh, definitely.
Is there a book that's coming up next for Throwback Book Club?
Oh man, we don't actually know.
That's the like question of the hour. Ami really wants to read Twilight. I've been shutting it down. I don't know if I can do that. I will say I recently read, like within the year, I read Midnight Sun, which is like the Twilight version from Edward's perspective. And that was like interesting, but we'll see. We'll surprise the team. I was like, Ami, I'll only do it if we get Rob or Kristen on or Taylor.
So we're not doing it. I was like, what if I get like someone who like went to high school as like a background character and she was like, we'll talk. I was like, okay.
Set your goals high, you know? I like it. I like that approach.
Everything we've been reading is around like 250 pages, which if it's a bad book and it's 250 pages, you can get through it. If it's a bad book and it's like 450, that's like torture. So I do understand the hesitation, but maybe it'll surprise us.
Well, there you have it, our official rating and review of The Clique, Book 1. Maybe we'll do a Book 2 because, I mean, I just really want to read it. And thank you so much, Sophie, for joining, taking a chance on the podcast. Where can our listeners find you?
I am chronically online, just like most of the world these days. Find me on Instagram and TikTok, posting all the silly things at Sophie Anna, varying amounts of ease. If you Google my name, it'll pop up.
Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com.
And if you like our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.